I tried to protect my best friend from her boyfriend, but when I exposed his secret messages, he turned everyone against me, except his other girlfriend. His phone buzzed on the picnic blanket, and he snatched it up with that same easy grin he always wore. Liam had been dating my best friend Raina for 6 months now, and he turned the screen toward her like he had nothing to hide. "Look what my mom sent me," he said, a meme about gardening. Everyone chuckled, including Raina, who leaned into his shoulder like she always did when she thought he was being adorable. I didn't laugh. I'd been watching him all afternoon, the way his eyes tracked movement across the park, the way his fingers kept checking his phone even when he pretended not to. 3 months of this. 3 months of watching my best friend fall deeper for someone who made my skin itch every time he opened his mouth. Another buzz. His smile flickered, just for a second, but I caught it. He angled the phone away from Raina this time, thumb moving fast across the screen before he set it face down on the blanket. "Everything okay?" Raina asked. "Yeah, just work stuff." He kissed her temple. "Nothing important." The phone sat there between us like a loaded weapon. Raina turned to dig through the cooler for drinks, and I watched Liam's hand drift toward the phone. Protective. Possessive. That's when I knew. I'd tried warning Raina 2 weeks ago. Told her I'd seen him at the coffee shop downtown, leaning way too close to some girl with dark hair, his hand on her lower back like he owned the space. Raina had looked at me like I'd slapped her. "You're jealous," she'd said, voice shaking. "You've been single for months and you can't stand that I'm happy." That conversation had ended with her slamming my car door and not speaking to me for 5 days. When she finally did, she acted like nothing happened, but there was a wall now. A wall that hadn't been there before, and Liam had built it brick by brick with his perfect boyfriend routine and his concerned comments about how I seemed stressed lately. The phone buzzed again. Liam's jaw tightened and he grabbed for it, but I was faster. "Hey!" He lunged, but I'd already pulled it out of reach, holding it up. "Your mom's really blowing you up today," I said. The screen was still lit. I didn't even have to unlock it. The preview was right there at the top. "Babe, when can I see you again? I miss you." Not his mom. Obviously not his mom. The contact name said Vanessa with a heart emoji. "Give me my phone." Liam's voice had gone flat. All that warmth evaporated. "Your mom calls you babe now?" I said it loud enough that our friends stopped their conversations. Everyone turned. Raina looked up from the cooler, confusion creasing her face. "What?" Liam stood, hand outstretched. "Give it back, Harper. This isn't funny." "You're right," I said. "It's not." I held the phone out toward Raina. She didn't move at first, just stared at it like it might explode. Then she stood slowly and took 3 steps across the blanket until she was close enough to see. Her face changed. I watched it happen in real time, the way her expression crumbled from confusion to realization to something sharp and broken. She took the phone from my hand, fingers trembling, and scrolled up. More messages, dozens of them. "Raina," Liam started, but she held up one hand. "Don't." The whole group had gone silent now. 6 people frozen on a picnic blanket, paper plates of half-eaten sandwiches forgotten. Someone's playlist was still going in the background, some cheerful pop song that felt obscene against the moment. Raina kept scrolling. Her breathing got heavier with each flick of her thumb. Liam tried to reach for the phone, but she stepped back, eyes never leaving the screen. "Who's Vanessa?" Her voice came out steady, too steady. "It's not what it looks like." She finally looked up at him. "Then what is it?" He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out that sounded like an answer, just stuttered half words that died in the air between them. Raina dropped the phone on the blanket and grabbed her bag. "Wait, just let me explain." Liam followed her as she shoved her sunglasses and water bottle into her tote. "Harper took my phone without asking. She invaded my privacy." Raina stopped moving. For a second I thought she might actually listen to him. Then she turned, and the look on her face could have cut glass. "Harper didn't write those messages." "It's not like that. Vanessa's just what?" Raina's voice cracked. "Just a friend? Just someone you accidentally call babe and tell you miss?" Our friend Callie shifted on the blanket, pulling her knees to her chest. Her boyfriend Drew whispered something to her, and she shook her head. Across from them, Sienna and Brooke exchanged glances, the kind of silent communication that happens when people realize they're witnessing something fall apart. Liam ran his hand through his hair, that rehearsed gesture he did when he wanted to look vulnerable. "You're taking this out of context. If you'd just listen—" "I read the messages, Liam." Raina slung her bag over her shoulder. "There's no context that makes this okay." She walked toward the parking lot without looking back. Liam stood there for a moment watching her go, then spun toward me. "You happy now?" I met his eyes. "Not really. You had no right to touch my phone." "Funny how that's what you're upset about." Drew cleared his throat. "Maybe we should all just stay out of this," Liam snapped, then softer like he'd caught himself. "Sorry, man. This is just a huge misunderstanding." But Drew was already packing up his stuff, helping Callie fold their blanket. Sienna stood too, brushing grass off her shorts. Within minutes, the picnic was dissolving. People murmuring excuses about needing to get going, avoiding eye contact with Liam. Brooke lingered near me as I gathered my things. "That took guts," she said quietly. "Or stupidity." "No." She glanced at Liam, who was frantically typing on his phone. Probably damage control text to Raina. "You did the right thing." I wanted to believe her, but watching everyone scatter, feeling the weight of what I'd just detonated, I wasn't sure there was a right thing anymore, just necessary ones. I tried calling Raina on my drive home. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again an hour later. Same thing. By evening, I'd sent 3 texts that all said variations of "please talk to me," and "I'm sorry you had to find out like that." Nothing. My phone did ring though. Callie first. "Is she okay?" "Drew and I are worried. She won't answer my calls." "Give her time, that's a lot to process." Then Sienna. "Liam's blowing up the group chat. Says you've had it out for him since day 1. I sat up straighter on my couch. "What group chat?" "The one without you and Raina. He made it like an hour ago." "Of course he did." What's he saying? That you grabbed his phone without permission, that Vanessa's his coworker and the messages were taken out of context, that you've been jealous of their relationship and this was you trying to sabotage it. The worst part was how predictable it all was. And people believe him? Sienna hesitated. Some are staying neutral. Brooke and I know better. But yeah, a few people are buying it. I thanked her and hung up, staring at my phone like it might spontaneously combust. This was exactly what Liam wanted. Raina isolated, me looking unhinged, and him playing the victim so well that people forgot what actually mattered. Those messages weren't fake. That girl wasn't his coworker. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he knew I knew that. My phone buzzed. A text from Drew. Callie wants you to know she's on your side. We both are. That guy's always seemed off to me. At least there was that. But Raina still wasn't answering. And that night, as I lay in bed replaying the whole scene, I couldn't shake the image of her face when she'd scrolled through those messages. The way her eyes had glazed over, like she was reading a language she'd never wanted to learn. I'd known this would hurt her. That was unavoidable. But I'd hoped that once the initial shock wore off, she'd see I'd done it because I cared. Because watching her stay with someone like Liam was worse than watching her hate me. Now I wasn't sure she'd ever speak to me again. The next morning, I checked Instagram. Raina had posted a photo from 2 weeks ago. Her and Liam at some restaurant, his arm around her shoulders. The caption just said, "Missing simpler times" with a heart emoji. Comments flooded in immediately. Friends asking if she was okay. Acquaintances saying things like, "You two are so cute," and "Hope everything's all right." Liam commented too. "Love you, let's talk soon." I closed the app before I could see if she'd responded. By noon, Brooke texted me a screenshot. Someone had posted in the group chat Liam created, asking if anyone else thought it was weird that Harper had been so aggressive about grabbing the phone. Another person replied saying I'd always seemed a little intense about Raina's relationships. "Don't listen to them," Brooke wrote. "They weren't there. They didn't see his face." But damage was spreading regardless of who'd seen what. And Liam was conducting the whole thing like a maestro, planting seeds of doubt just carefully enough that people started wondering if maybe there was more to the story. Maybe Harper did have boundary issues. Maybe she was jealous. I thought about texting the group chat to defend myself, but anything I said would sound offensive. That was the trap. Liam had said it perfectly, and I'd walked right into it by grabbing his phone in the first place. Except I'd do it again. Because at least now Raina knew. Even if she hated me for it, even if she went back to him and pretended those messages meant nothing, she couldn't unknow what she'd seen. And that had to count for something. 3 days passed without a word from Raina. I saw her active on social media, liking posts, commenting on photos that had nothing to do with relationships or drama. She was online. She just wasn't talking to me. Liam, meanwhile, had launched a full campaign. Brooke kept me updated on the group chat I'd been excluded from. He'd posted a long message about how hurt he was by the violation of privacy, and how he'd always tried to be welcoming to me despite my obvious issues with their relationship. He painted himself as the patient boyfriend who'd tolerated my jealousy for months, and now I'd finally crossed a line. "It's like he's rewriting history," Brooke said when she called me Tuesday night. "Half these people weren't even around when you tried warning Raina the first time. What's she saying? Is she defending him?" Brooke went quiet. She hasn't posted in the chat at all. That was somehow worse than if she'd taken his side. At least then I'd know where she stood. This silence felt like she was weighing options, measuring loyalties, trying to decide if our friendship was worth salvaging, or if Liam's version of events made more sense. I ran into Callie at the grocery store on Wednesday. She gave me a sympathetic smile and asked how I was holding up. "Been better. Drew thinks you're brave, so do I." She hesitated, glancing around like someone might overhear. For what it's worth, Liam's been texting Raina constantly. I saw her phone light up at work yesterday. It was him every time. Is she responding? I don't know. She keeps stepping away to take calls, but she won't talk about it. I thanked her and finished my shopping in a haze. Liam was isolating her, flooding her with his side of the story before she had time to process what she'd actually seen. And I couldn't do anything about it without looking like the obsessive friend he claimed I was. Thursday, I finally broke and sent Raina another text. Not an apology this time, just the truth. "I know you're angry. I know this is a lot, but those messages were real. He can spin this however he wants, but you saw what you saw. I'm here when you're ready to talk." She read it. The little indicator showed she'd opened it within a minute, but no response came. Friday night, Sienna texted me a photo from someone's Instagram story. A group of our friends at a bar downtown. Raina was there. So was Liam. His arm was draped over her shoulders, and she was smiling, but it didn't reach her eyes. The caption said something about squad goals, and had a bunch of heart emojis. "She went back to him," Sienna wrote. "Or at least she's pretending everything's fine." I stared at that photo for longer than I should have. Raina's smile looked painted on, the kind of expression you wear when you're trying to convince everyone, including yourself, that you're okay. Liam looked triumphant, like he'd won some unspoken competition. Maybe he had. I wanted to be angry at Raina for going back, for choosing him over the truth, but mostly I just felt tired. She was allowed to make her own mistakes. I'd done what I could, forced her to see what she'd been ignoring. If she wanted to pretend it didn't matter, that was her choice. Except it did matter, and pretending wouldn't make those messages disappear. Saturday morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Harper?" The voice was unfamiliar. Female, younger sounding. "Yeah? My name's Vanessa. I think we need to talk." I sat up so fast I nearly dropped the phone. "How did you get my number?" "Liam's been calling me nonstop since the picnic, asking me to back up his story if anyone reaches out, telling me you're some toxic stalker who invaded his privacy." She paused, but I saw the group chat screenshots. Someone added me to it yesterday, probably by accident. "I read what he's been saying about you. And it's not true, any of it." She sounded tired, like she'd been carrying something heavy for too long. "Liam and I have been seeing each other for 2 months. He told me he was single. I didn't know about Raina until I saw her Instagram after everything blew up. The pieces clicked into place. He lied to you too, pretty much. And now he's trying to clean up his mess by making you look unstable and me look like a coworker who got the wrong idea." She laughed, but it came out bitter. "I'm not doing that. I'm not covering for him. What do you want from me?" "Nothing. I just thought you should know you're not toxic. And if you need someone to back up your story, I will." I thanked her her and hung up, mind racing. Vanessa had just handed me ammunition. Proof that Liam's whole narrative was built on lies. But using it meant dragging this out further, making it messier, risking that Raina would see me as vindictive rather than protective. Or I could sit on it. Let Liam think he'd gotten away with it. Let Raina figure things out on her own time. Except she wasn't figuring it out. She was doubling down, clinging to the version of reality where Liam was the victim and I was the villain. And every day that passed cemented that story a little more. Sunday afternoon, I saw another Instagram post, this time from Liam. A photo of him and Raina at brunch, her laughing at something off camera, him looking at her like she was the only person in the room. The caption was a paragraph about how grateful he was for her patience and understanding, how some people tried to tear them apart but their love was stronger than gossip. The comments were full of support, friends saying they were couple goals and how happy they looked. A few people tagged me, probably hoping I'd see it and feel the jab. I did see it, and it did jab. But what got me was the photo itself, not Liam's performative caption or the supportive comments. It was Raina's laugh, the way it looked genuine in the photo but felt wrong somehow, like she was trying too hard to prove everything was fine. I'd known her for 8 years, long enough to recognize when she was faking it. Brooke called me that evening. Did you see his post? Unfortunately, it's so manipulative. He's using her to rehabilitate his image. I know, so what are you going to do? I thought about Vanessa's call, about the proof sitting in my phone that could dismantle Liam's entire story, about Raina's fake laugh and painted-on smile. I don't know yet, but I was starting to realize that staying silent wasn't protecting Raina. It was protecting Liam. And the longer I waited, the harder it would be to undo the damage he'd already done. Monday morning, I woke up to a text from a number I didn't recognize. You need to stop harassing Liam and Raina. What you did was wrong and everyone knows it. I deleted it without responding. Then another came in an hour later. Different number. Jealous much. Get a life. By noon, I'd received 5 messages from strangers, all variations on the same theme. Liam had clearly shared my number in that group chat, painting me as the villain who needed to be put in her place. People I'd never met were messaging me like they knew the whole story, like they'd been there at the picnic and witnessed me commit some unforgivable crime. Sienna called livid. He posted your number in the chat, said people should reach out to you if they had concerns about your behavior. I reported it to the group admin, but the damage is done. Who's the admin? One of his friends from work? Someone none of us really know. Of course. Liam had stacked the deck from the beginning, creating a space where he controlled the narrative and everyone else just played along. I blocked the random numbers and tried to focus on work, but concentration was impossible. Every notification made me tense up, wondering if it was another stranger with an opinion about my character. By Wednesday, I'd turned off notifications entirely and stopped checking social media. The silence was almost worse than the harassment because I knew things were still happening. People were still talking. Liam was still spinning his story, and I was just sitting here, letting it happen. Vanessa texted me Wednesday afternoon. He showed up at my apartment last night, asked me to delete all our messages and tell people we were just friends if anyone asked. Said he'd make it worth my while. What did you say? I told him to leave, but he kept insisting, saying you'd ruined his life and he just needed help fixing it. Like I owed him something. Are you okay? I'm fine, just wanted you to know he's getting desperate. Desperate meant dangerous. When people like Liam felt cornered, they didn't back down gracefully. They escalated, and I was starting to see the shape of his plan. Isolate Raina, discredit me, silence Vanessa. Create a version of reality where he was the victim and everyone else was either mistaken or malicious. Thursday night, Brooke called with more bad news. Liam's telling people you've done this before, that you have a history of trying to break up couples because you're bitter about being single. That's not even remotely true. I know that, but he's got people believing it. He's bringing up that time you warned Raina about him as proof that you've always had it out for their relationship. I warned her because he was cheating, we know, but he's twisted it into you being obsessive and jealous. And now that Raina's back with him, it's easier for people to believe his version. I wanted to scream. Every move I made, every attempt to expose the truth just gave Liam more material to work with. He'd turned my concern into obsession, my evidence into invasion of privacy, my friendship with Raina into some toxic jealousy narrative. And people were eating it up because his story was simpler, cleaner, easier to digest than the messy reality that their friend was dating someone who lied to everyone. Friday afternoon, I ran into Drew at a coffee shop. He waved me over to his table, and I almost kept walking. I was tired of explaining myself, tired of defending actions that shouldn't need defending. But something in his expression stopped me. Sit, he said, please. I sat. Callie and I have been talking about everything, about Liam's story and your side and just trying to make sense of it all. He stirred his coffee absently. The thing is, his story doesn't add up. He keeps changing details. Last week he said Vanessa was a co-worker. This week he's calling her an old friend. Yesterday he told someone she was his cousin. His cousin? That's what I said. Who calls their cousin babe? Drew leaned forward. Look, I know you probably feel like everyone's turned on you, but some of us are paying attention. And what we're seeing is a guy who can't keep his lies straight. Does Raina see it? Drew's face fell. I don't know. She won't talk about it. Every time someone brings up the picnic or asks about you, she changes the subject. It's like she's pretending none of it happened. Because that's what he wants. If she doesn't acknowledge it, it didn't happen. If nobody talks about it, his version becomes the only version. Then we need to make people talk about it. I appreciated the sentiment, but I wasn't sure how. Liam had the momentum. He had Raina. He had a group chat full of people who'd bought his story wholesale. What did I have? A call from the girl he'd cheated with and a handful of friends who believed me but couldn't change the narrative on their own. Saturday morning, things got worse. I opened Instagram to find that Liam had posted a long statement. It was carefully worded, hitting all the right notes of vulnerability and hurt. He talked about privacy violations and false accusations, about how hard it was to defend yourself when someone was determined to destroy your reputation. He never mentioned my name, but he didn't have to. Everyone knew who he was talking about. The comments section was brutal. People I'd known for years were calling me jealous, obsessive, unhinged. Strangers were weighing in with hot takes about boundaries and toxic friendship dynamics. A few people defended me, but their comments got buried under the avalanche of support for Liam. Raina had liked the post. That hurt more than all the comments combined. Brooke sent me a screenshot from the group chat. Someone had suggested organizing a support gathering for Liam and Raina, a chance for their friends to show solidarity after everything they'd been through. The subtext was clear. This was about choosing sides. And if you showed up, you were choosing them. Are you going? I asked Brooke. No. Neither is Sienna. Drew and Callie are still deciding, but they're leaning toward no. Tell them to go. What? If they go, they can see what's actually happening. Watch how Liam acts when he thinks he's won. Maybe they'll notice something that can help. Brooke was quiet for a moment. You're not giving up on her, are you? On Raina? No. I stared at Liam's Instagram post, at all those comments from people who didn't know the truth. But I can't keep playing defense. He's controlling the narrative because he's the only one talking. So maybe it's time to change that. What are you going to do? I thought about Vanessa, about the messages she still had, about Liam showing up at her apartment, desperate to erase evidence, about Drew's observation that his story kept changing. I'm going to let him keep talking, and eventually, he's going to contradict himself so badly that even Raina won't be able to ignore it. Drew called me Tuesday morning. You were right, about watching him. What happened? We went to that support thing on Sunday. Liam spent the whole time playing victim, talking about how betrayed he felt. Drew paused, but then someone asked about Vanessa, who she was, how they knew each other, and Liam said she was a friend from college who'd gotten the wrong idea about their friendship. College? That's what I thought, because last week he told me she was from his gym, and before that, he said she was a coworker. Drew's voice dropped. So I asked him which one it was, college, gym, or work, and he got defensive, said I was interrogating him just like you did. What did everyone else do? Most people didn't notice. They were too busy sympathizing with him, but Callie caught it, and so did Sienna, who showed up late and heard the whole thing. It was a small crack, but it was something. Liam's story was starting to fracture under scrutiny, and people who'd been paying attention were noticing the inconsistencies. Wednesday afternoon, Vanessa texted me again. I got a weird message today, someone asking if Liam and I went to college together. What did you say? I told them no, that we met through a dating app 2 months ago and he told me he was single. She sent a screenshot of the conversation. I don't know who this is, but they said they were fact-checking something Liam told them. I recognized the number. It was Callie. She was digging, quietly verifying Liam's claims and finding holes. Thursday, Brooke forwarded me another screenshot from the group chat. Someone had posted a question about the timeline. If Vanessa was just a friend who'd misunderstood things, why were the messages so recent? Why were they talking about meeting up if they were supposedly just casual acquaintances? Liam's response was vague. Something about how the screenshots were taken out of context and people were reading too much into friendly banter. But the damage was done. People were starting to ask questions instead of just accepting his version. Friday night, Sienna called. I talked to Raina today. First real conversation we've had since the picnic. I waited, not wanting to hope too much. She's not okay, Harper. She's pretending she is, but she's not. She kept saying Liam explained everything, that you misunderstood, but she couldn't look me in the eye when she said it. Sienna sighed. I asked her if she believed him, and she said she wanted to. Not that she did, that she wanted to. Did you tell her about the inconsistencies? I tried. Mentioned the college thing, the gym thing, the coworker thing. She got quiet. Then she said maybe he was confused because everything happened so fast. Making excuses for him? Yeah, but I could tell she was running out of them. Like she was holding on to this story so tightly because the alternative was too much to face. Saturday morning brought another shift. I checked Instagram and saw that several people had commented on Liam's post from last week, the one about privacy violations and false accusations. But these new comments weren't supportive. They were questions. Wait, I thought Vanessa was your coworker? Didn't you say she was from your gym last week? Can someone explain the timeline here? I'm confused. Liam had deleted some of the questions, but not before others saw them and started asking their own. The narrative he'd worked so hard to control was slipping through his fingers, one contradiction at a time. Sunday afternoon, Vanessa sent me a long message. I've been thinking about what you said, about how staying silent protects him, and I don't want to do that anymore. I have all our messages saved, dates, times, everything. If you think it would help Raina see the truth, I'll share them. I stared at her message for a long time. This was exactly what I needed. Concrete proof with timestamps and context that Liam had been lying to everyone. But using it meant going nuclear. It meant publicly humiliating him, and potentially embarrassing Raina even more than she already was. Before I could respond, my phone rang. It was Drew. You need to see this. He sounded urgent. Liam just posted something and then deleted it really fast, but I got a screenshot. He sent it through. It was a long rant, clearly typed in anger, about how exhausting it was to defend yourself when nobody believed you. How some people were so determined to see the worst in you that they'd twist everything you said. How he was tired of being the villain in someone else's story. He's cracking, Drew said. The questions are getting to him. Good. Callie thinks we should organize something. Get everyone together who's noticed the inconsistencies. Let them compare notes. Because right now, people are seeing pieces of the puzzle, but not the whole picture. And you think Raina would come? I think if we frame it right, yeah. Not as an intervention or an ambush. Just as friends who care about her wanting to make sure she has all the information. It was risky. If Liam found out, he'd spin it as another attack on him. Another example of me turning people against their relationship. But if it worked, if Raina finally saw what everyone else was starting to see, maybe it might be worth it. Monday morning, I texted Vanessa back, hold on to those messages. I think we're going to need them soon. By Tuesday, Callie had organized a small gathering. Just her, Drew, Brooke, Sienna, and Raina. No Liam. Callie had framed it as a girls' night plus Drew, casual and low pressure. But the real goal was to create space for Raina to talk without Liam controlling the conversation. I wasn't invited. That was strategic. My presence would have put Raina on the defensive, made her feel like she was being ganged up on. But Brooke promised to text me updates. She came. Brooke wrote around 8. Seems tense, but she's here. An hour later, Callie brought up the college tar gym work thing, asked Raina which story Liam told her. She said coworker. Then Callie showed her screenshots of him saying different things to different people. Another hour. She's quiet, processing. Drew just asked her if Liam's stories about you have changed too. She admitted they have. And then, she's crying. Not saying much, but I think something's breaking through. I put my phone down and stared at the ceiling. This was it. The moment where Raina either chose to see the truth or chose to keep believing the lie. And I couldn't do anything but wait. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Brooke. She asked about Vanessa. Wanted to know if anyone had actually talked to her or if we were all just guessing. Callie said someone had. That Vanessa confirmed she and Liam were seeing each other and he told her he was single. And then, minutes later, Raina just asked for your number. Said she deleted it after the picnic. We gave it to her. My phone rang at 10:30 that night. Raina's name lit up the screen, and for a second I just stared at it, wondering if this was real or if I'd fallen asleep and started dreaming. I answered, hey! Silence on the other end, then a shaky breath. I need to talk to you. Okay, not on the phone. Can you meet me somewhere? 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from her at a diner that stayed open late. She'd ordered coffee she wasn't drinking, just wrapped her hands around the mug like she needed something to hold on to. I'm sorry, her voice came out small, for not listening, for shutting you out, for believing him when I should have believed you. You don't have to apologize. Yes, I do. She looked up, eyes red. You tried to tell me and I made you out to be the bad guy. I let him convince me you were jealous, that you had some agenda, and the whole time, he was the one lying. I reached across the table, put my hand over hers. He's really good at it. That's what makes people like him so dangerous. Callie showed me screenshots tonight, of him saying different things to different people about Vanessa. College friend, gym acquaintance, coworker, cousin. She laughed, but it sounded broken. Cousin? He actually told someone she was his cousin. I know, and I kept making excuses for him. Every time something didn't add up, I'd find a way to explain it away. Because if I admitted he was lying about that, I'd have to admit he'd been lying about everything. She pulled her hand back, wiped her eyes. I wasn't ready to face that. Are you ready now? She nodded slowly. I talked to Vanessa tonight too. Callie gave me her number. She told me everything. How they met, what he promised her, how he showed up at her apartment trying to get her to delete their messages. Raina's jaw tightened. He's been playing both of us this whole time. Not just you two. He's been playing everyone. The group chat, the social media posts, the support gathering. All of it was about controlling the story before the truth could catch up. Well, the truth caught up. She picked up her phone, scrolled through something, then turned the screen toward me. I sent him this an hour ago. It was a text. Short, direct. We're done. Don't contact me again. I know about everything. How did he respond? He called me 12 times, sent about 30 texts. All variations on the same theme. That I was overreacting, that people were feeding me lies, that he could explain everything if I'd just give him a chance. She put the phone down. I blocked him. Good, but that's not enough. She leaned forward, something fierce replacing the sadness in her expression. He's been destroying your reputation for weeks, telling people you're obsessive, jealous, unstable, and I let him. I stood by while he turned our friends against you, so no, blocking him isn't enough. I need to fix this. Raina, you don't have to. Yes, I do. She pulled out her laptop. Liam's having people over tomorrow night. Some casual thing at his place. Drew told me about it. Half our friend group is going. And I'm going too, with receipts. She opened a folder on her screen. Screenshots from Vanessa. The contradictory stories people had collected. Timestamps that proved Liam had been seeing Vanessa while dating her. I'm going to walk in there and show everyone who he really is. That's going to get ugly. I don't care. Her voice was steady now, all the uncertainty gone. He made this ugly when he decided to lie to everyone. I'm just making sure the truth comes out. I looked at her laptop, at all the evidence she'd compiled. You want backup? I was hoping you'd ask. The next evening, we stood outside Liam's apartment. I could hear music and laughter through the door. Raina took a breath, squared her shoulders, and knocked. Liam answered, smile already in place. Then he saw her, and the smile faltered. Then he saw me, and it disappeared completely. What are you doing here? He didn't move from the doorway. We need to talk. Raina's voice carried the kind of calm that comes right before a storm. In front of everyone. This isn't a good time. Make it a good time. She pushed past him into the apartment. I followed. The living room went quiet. Sienna and Brooke were there, along with Callie and Drew. A few people I didn't know well, and some of Liam's work friends who'd been feeding into his narrative online. Everyone, sorry to interrupt. Raina set her laptop on the coffee table, opened it. But I think we all need to see something. Liam moved toward her. Raina, come on, don't do this. Don't do what? Tell the truth? She pulled up the first screenshot. A message from Vanessa to Liam from 3 weeks ago, asking when they could see each other again. This is from the girl you said was just a coworker who misunderstood your friendship. You're taking that out of context. Am I? She scrolled to another message. This one from a month ago, with Liam calling Vanessa beautiful and making plans to meet up. What's the context here? Liam looked around the room, searching for support. A few people shifted uncomfortably. Harper got to you. She's been poisoning you against me since day one. Harper didn't show me these messages. Vanessa did. The girl you've been seeing behind my back for 2 months. One of Liam's work friends spoke up. Didn't you say she was your cousin? No, Liam caught him himself. I never said that. You did, Drew said quietly. Last week, someone asked who she was, and you said she was your cousin visiting from out of state. Before that, you said she was a college friend, Callie added. And before that, someone from your gym. Liam's face was going red. I don't remember saying that. It doesn't matter what you remember. Raina pulled up more screenshots. Here's your conversation with Vanessa from 2 days after the picnic, where you're begging her to delete your messages and tell people she made up your relationship. She sent these to Harper? Liam's voice got louder. And you're just going to believe whatever Harper tells you? I talked to Vanessa myself. She told me everything. How you met on a dating app, how you told her you were single, how you showed up at her apartment trying to get her to cover for you. Raina's voice stayed level, but I could see her hands shaking. She has phone records, Liam, timestamps on messages, photos of you two together that you took on dates while you were supposedly devoted to me. This is insane. Liam looked at his friends. You guys see what's happening here, right? She's having a breakdown. Harper's been manipulating her for weeks, and now she's— Stop. Sienna stood up. Just stop talking, because every word out of your mouth right now is making this worse. I'm trying to defend myself against— Against what? Brooke joined Sienna. Against facts? Against your own words? You told 5 different people 5 different stories about who Vanessa was. That's not Harper manipulating anyone. That's you lying and getting caught. One of Liam's work friends cleared his throat. This is pretty damning, man. I thought you said the messages at the picnic were taken out of context. They were. Liam was scrambling now. That whole thing was Harper overreacting to a friendly conversation. Raina turned to me. Harper, do you have Vanessa's number? I pulled out my phone, sent it to Raina. She immediately called, put it on speaker. Vanessa answered on the second ring. Hello? Hi, Vanessa. This is Raina. I'm here with Liam and a bunch of our friends. Could you tell everyone exactly what your relationship with Liam was? Silence. Then, we were dating for about 2 months. He told me he was single. We went on dates, spent time at each other's places, talked about making things official. Her voice was clear, matter of fact. I didn't know about you until after Harper exposed him at that picnic. And when I found out, he tried to get me to lie and say we were just friends. That's not— Liam started. I have all the messages saved, Vanessa continued, including the ones where he called me babe, sweetheart, and told me he was falling for me. If anyone wants proof, I'm happy to share. Raina ended the call. The room was dead silent, all eyes on Liam, waiting for some explanation that could possibly make sense of what they'd just heard. He didn't have one. Get out of my apartment. His voice came out flat. Excuse me? Raina stared at him. All of you, get out. This is my home and I don't have to stand here and be attacked. Attacked? I finally spoke, and everyone turned. You spent 2 weeks attacking me, posting my number in group chats so strangers could harass me, telling people I was obsessive and jealous and had a history of breaking up couples. You created an entire campaign to destroy my credibility so nobody would believe me when I tried to tell the truth. Because you violated my privacy. You were cheating! My voice got louder despite myself. That's the part that seems to keep getting lost here. You were actively seeing another woman, lying to her, lying to Raina, lying to everyone. And when I exposed that, you decided the best defense was to make me look controlling. You had no right— You're right. I didn't have the right to grab your phone. That was wrong. I'll own that. I stepped closer. But everything that happened after, that's on you. You chose to lie. You chose to manipulate. You chose to turn people against me instead of just admitting what you'd done. And now everyone knows exactly who you are. Liam's jaw worked, but nothing came out. He looked around at his friends, at Raina, at me. And for the first time since I'd known him, that easy confidence was completely gone. Everyone out, he said again. Now, people started moving toward the door. Raina grabbed her laptop, but before leaving, she turned back to Liam. I wasted 6 months believing you were someone you're not. Defending you when I should have been listening to my best friend. Making excuses for behavior that never should have been excused. She shook her head. I can't get that time back, but I can make sure nobody else falls for your act. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm posting everything. The screenshots, the contradictions, Vanessa's statement, all of it. So when you try this with the next girl, she'll have a way to find out who you really are. You can't do that. Watch me. She walked out without looking back. The rest of us filed out after her. The door slammed behind us, rattling in its frame. In the hallway, Callie pulled Raina into a hug, then Brooke, then Sienna. Drew clapped her on the shoulder, told her she was brave. One by one, people who'd been silent for weeks suddenly had opinions about how they'd always thought something was off about Liam. I hung back, letting Raina have her moment. She deserved it. She just torched a relationship and publicly called out someone in front of all their mutual friends. That took courage. She caught my eye over Callie's shoulder and smiled. A real smile this time, not the painted-on version from Instagram photos. Thank you, she mouthed. I nodded. We'd be okay. It would take time, and there'd be conversations about trust and communication and learning to listen, but we'd be okay. As the group started dispersing, heading to cars and planning where to go next, I checked my phone. A text from Vanessa. Did it go well? Better than expected, I typed back. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for not letting him get away with it. I put my phone away and walked out into the parking lot. The night air felt cool, clean, like something had finally lifted. Raina posted everything the next morning. Screenshots, timeline, Vanessa's statement. She didn't editorialize, didn't add dramatic captions, just laid out the facts and let people draw their own conclusions. The response was immediate. People who'd been defending Liam went quiet. Others who'd stayed neutral started commenting, saying they should have spoken up sooner. A few people apologized to me directly for believing his version of events. Liam deleted all his social media by noon. He's blocked me on everything, Raina said when we met for coffee that afternoon. His number, Instagram, all of it. Good. Makes it easier to move on. I still can't believe I almost married him. She stirred her latte absently. He mentioned it once. Marriage. Said we could start looking at rings after a year. And I actually got excited about that. You didn't know. I should have. You saw it. You tried to warn me. I saw it because I wasn't in love with him. You saw the version of himself he wanted you to see. That's what people like him do. I reached across the table. Stop beating yourself up. You got out. That's what matters. She squeezed my hand. I'm sorry it took me so long. I'm sorry I chose him over you, even for a minute. You're here now. We sat there for a while, drinking coffee and not saying much. Outside, Outside, people walked past the window, living their normal lives, completely unaware that our entire world had just reconfigured itself. Eventually, Raina spoke. Next time I start dating someone, you have full permission to vet them first. Deal, she laughed. A real laugh this time, light and unburdened. And somehow, despite everything, that made it all worth it.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your favorite part in the comments. See you in the next one.